Hey, welcome to this week's Deal Structure Sunday. It's Chris Pre. I want to just throw another twist at you guys instead of just doing deals. And that is, I get asked all the time, can you break down sort of a comparison, if you will? So I took some notes here of a sandwich lease versus a sub 2. And just for context, one of our best students, Brian from Illinois, who, by the way, side note, for those of you that have a JOB, planned his escape from his W-2 very well and did it in I think it was 9 months. Crazy. We set a goal for 2 years and he did it in 9 months, and he created over $1 million in 3 paydays so far. So what we're doing in the community as far as helping people escape their W-2 is absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to throw that out there as an insert and some context. So I give that as context because Brian's first 8 deals, maybe even 10, were sandwich leases. With the exception of Texas, you won't do them there, but with the exception of Texas, you can do them anywhere else. Because they're simple, they're $10 deposits. He literally put up a $10 deposit on all those deals and created over $1 million in income, all 3 paydays. But now that he understands, as he gets more and more advanced and he and I work more and more together, we talk daily, he's now realizing the power of the sub 2. He's also realizing what we call wealth stacking, and that is we can take an existing sandwich and we can turn it into a sub 2. So that's an advanced technique, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of a understanding, if you're new to this, sort of a comparison, if you will, no priority order here, between a sandwich lease and a sub 2. And there's no wrong answer, but I prefer to own a property, own a financing or a sub 2. So just my scribbled notes. In a sandwich lease, at the end of the term, we're cashing these things out. We're having payday 3s to the tune of 1 to 2 a month now for the infinite future, literally, from other deals we've done in the past. In that scenario, you need to the seller needs to come back in the picture because they've got to sign the deed. You're not on the deed. You're controlling the property in a sandwich lease. You're on the deed by way of clouding it with a notice of option to protect your interest. But at the end, when your buyer gets cashed out, is going to get cashed out as a payday 3, the purchase and sales and the deed has to be done with the seller. So you do have to go locate the seller. We've had sellers die. We've had all kinds of things go on. But it's fine. It can be done. It's just a little more difficult. That's number 1. Number 2, the type of income you're reporting in a sandwich lease, I'm not an accountant, okay? But we have a CPA that services all our students, all our associates. And you can definitely get with him and tell him you heard me on the channel. His name is Paul Dion, D-I-O-N. I think you can reach him at pauldioncpa.com. He knows the 3 paydays. He knows how to set up your chart of accounts. He knows how to do all this. But I will tell you that the income is more in the self-employment category with a sandwich lease versus an owned property. Very important for you to consult your CPA there. So in my opinion, there's tax advantages to own versus control, all right? You also get to depreciate it. You own it. You get to depreciate it right off the interest, et cetera, et cetera. You're not getting depreciation on a sandwich lease. You're getting income in, income out, net. You're getting taxed on that, plus self-employment income. Again, I'm not an accountant, but check with your accountant. Some sellers, remember I said you got to go back and talk to the seller? Some seller, no matter what you do, is going to get amnesia. They literally get amnesia towards the end of the deal sometimes and want to try to twist it up on you. That's why it's imperative if you do a sandwich lease to make sure you get a notice of option filed. Then it all goes away. You have complete leverage, okay? Type income I hit, depreciation I hit. When you're doing a sub 2 deal, there's no ticker. There's no end date. Nothing. So you could take your buyer in the property. Even if you started as a sandwich, you can take your buyer in the property. If they're proving themselves over the course of the deal, you can say to them, hey, good news. You got your deposit up to 20%. That's what we do. You've been current on your rents, and we can now own or finance you. So now you have a deal that went from, with your buyer, a 2 or 3 year deal turned into a 10 or 20 year deal. We just did one down Cape Cod, a resort area near here. So it's very important to do that and understand that in doing that, you're creating longer term wealth. You really are. So you're taking a normal deal that has 3 paydays, and then if you turn around and own or finance it, look on the Deal Structure channel in our YouTube channel here, and you'll see that I went over that deal. I talked about how it went from a 3 payday deal to an increase of like 75 grand, I think it was, in paydays just by owner financing the buyer. Just food for thought. Okay, so I want to get your brain thinking about that. And what else could you do if you had a sub 2 property that you can't with a sandwich that has a clock ticking? Well, you could rent it, right? If the market shit the bed, you could rent it if you wanted to. You got it. You own it. There's no clock ticking. Now, sometimes with a sub 2, most of the time there's debt relief going on and there's no equity. But there are some instances where for capital gains reasons, a seller has to or wants to go ahead and spin out of the property and do a sub 2 with you, even though they have equity. And we'll sometimes have a date ticking on that equity, 3 years, 4 years, it might be 20, 30, 40 grand, 50 grand. So you've got to maybe chat with us on our weekly sit downs or whatever it takes to understand how to structure that. But that's important for you to know that some sellers will want a date on the equity, not the underlying loan. You're never going to date that and put yourself in that position, okay? All right, so if you want to get into more discussions about this stuff, what the best place is too, besides our events, if you can get there, is the Wicked Smart Sit Down every single week, 4 o'clock. We hang out for 50 minutes with students just like you. You don't have to be in our program. You don't have to do anything. Just show up, and we'll answer any questions. You can listen to Q&A. You can bring deals. You can bring a sub 2 deal, whatever you want. You can bring a question about a video you saw and say, I don't get what the heck you were talking about, Chris. It's every week at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/events, and you're going to get the update that way. You can also see all the events we do. We do 2 live and 2 virtual now. And quite frankly, it's not a bad place and a bad community to hang out with because they're like-minded and they're going to help you get to where you want. I don't know if that's escape your job or whatever it is, but they're going to help you get to where you want. See you in the next sit down.